Welcome to Daily Politics on Trust TV. I am Suleiman. Today, we're going to look at an important dimension of Nigerian politics. That is, what happens to PDP after the convention. The convention itself was a major issue in the country. There were lots and lots of court cases going to and back and forth. But now that is over. So what next? How are PDP preparing and working towards 2023? It now means that they are already on the track to 2023 elections. Can they and will they unseat the PDP? The APC? And how are they going to do it? This and many other questions will form part of our discussions this evening. With me is two very important guests coming from very diverse backgrounds. The first guest needs no introduction at all. He is one of the founding members of the PDP. In fact, one of the original nucleus members of the PDP, the G7. I think he is the one person left standing in that G7 right now in Nigeria today. He is, of course, former Minister of Foreign Affairs and former Governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Sule Lamido. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Viewers, good evening.
My second guest is Professor Usman Mohammed, Professor of International Relations and Diplomacy and head of that department at Bayes University, Abuja, and also the Chief Executive Officer, Center for Legislative Studies in Africa. You're much welcome, Prof.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Viewers.
Yeah. So I will start with you, Prof. We'll go straight into it. The PDP has gone through a lot. They were in power for 16 years, and then they have been out of power for 6 years. But being out of power for 6 years, they look like they have been shrinking from 23 states in 1999 to just about 10 or 13 states today. Are they going downhill? Are they going to be extinct? Is there going to be, are we seeing the death sentence of the PDP?
Thank you, Mr. Moderator and viewers. Let me from the onset say that my answers may sound a little bit immodest. And sometimes I may appear, in my answer may be a little bit arrogant.
That's
but
all.
it's because, in trying to set the facts of history,
Yes.
people who begin to look at us and begin to think for us how we should behave, how as a political party, where we should go. Shouldn't they know that PDP has got a very, very clear history, when it was formed in 1998. Yes. I've been saying this over and over for the last how many years that arising from the injury of June 12,
Yes.
when ability was annulled, the country went through some kind of crisis of lack of trust between the components of the country. The culture of hate began to emerge and distrust or mistrust.
Okay.
And when Abacha came on board after removing Shoneka, it was very clear that all his arrangement for transition were being guided towards his own personal succession in Nigerian president. And we felt that, having gone what we went through, from independence, civil war, crisis, coup upon coup, and all the destruction in terms of democracy, we felt that we need a very, very genuine democracy. Democracy should be able to unite Nigerians, restore trust, restore empathy, restore love, and then by the to so that we can be bounded by our common humanity. Now, so when Abacha unleashed his own transition, we found that it may not last, it may not work, because it was simply skewed towards his own interest. So nine of us at that time, when you say G7,
Yes.
it was G9.
G9, okay.
Our elder then, late Ale Ukweme, late Bola Ige, late Santa Ella, late Adam Chiroma, late Solomon La, later Abubakar Rimi.
So how does it feel now that all of them are late and you are the only one standing? Does it mean that there's a disconnect between what you believed then and what the PDP is now?
You see, it's not about, it's about the ideas behind the formation of the group for the bigger picture called Nigeria. So when we formed this group, we said we will not participate in the budget transition because we do not think it will take us anywhere in Nigeria. Because you cannot heal Nigeria if you don't address June 12. A chunk of the country felt, offended, felt maybe cheated or whatever. So we said, what do we do in this new transition to ensure that those who are apparently not happy, who seem to have lost faith in Nigeria, whereby you begin to have seen countries like Afeni Fere and Nadeko and the others trying to divide the country. What do we do to pacify them? Because in 1968 independence, Nigeria was formed of vision for leaders, clear vision for leaders. I've been saying late Olo, late Ozukwe, late Balewa, Sunan Sokoto, Aminikano, Tarka, and many others. It independent, they had a vision for Nigeria, a country which by its population, even then, is a leader in Africa, leader of the black race. A country well endowed with all resources, both underground and on the surface. So Nigeria at independence was dualizing, playing a sovereign role as an independent nation, at the same time also playing a role of leader of the black race. Because there is nowhere in the world we have this assembly of people, that number in Nigeria. So it means Nigeria should be black man's reference point. Should be inspiring.
Were this part of the LDs of the PDP at the time?
No, that was the history of Nigeria in 1960. And therefore, this vision, this history, this desire, this ambition, this hope, was crushed by the civil war after the war. And then from there, it should begin to appear of religion, ethnicity, and then personal ambitions. And we're manipulating each other. So in 1970, 99, 98, we said, look, what do we do after June 12th? And about it there, how do we work out so they know that we fight his administration in terms of the ambition he's pursuing? Not the government, but his ambition. And we met in Lagos, at number 9 Raymond Joko Street in Ikoyi. I know these 9 people. And we talked with them that we will not partake in a budget transition. And that we are going to, no matter we're going to, use any platform and fight it. Of course, after that, I think Bola Ige and somebody said, look, we trust each other here. We know ourselves. Sule the youngest here. But then you see, from there, Bola Ige said, look, from the things I say, Rimi, I trust you. Solomon, I trust all of you, I know you. But then to us, we think Abacha is pursuing a northern agenda. So you're trying to use us to give me a platform. That's what he said. So if you want us to believe in what you are saying, go to the north and form a group which is going to fight Abacha. If you do so, symbolically, the ATM are serious, the ATM will join you. So we came back. No, I think Rim was trying to say, I said, no. I think it's a challenge which is very genuine. It's a genuine challenge. If we're sincere, if we mean it, well, let's go. We came back to the north, went to Adamichiro House, sat down, and from G18, which was purely another formation to fight Abacha's transition in terms of his own personal ambition, not the government. And so...
But did Abacha, did he see it that way? Did he see that you were fighting just his ambition, or you were fighting
that's his own business.
And his
that's his own belief.
Okay.
He saw us as his own enemy.
But was that only his own? Because many people were imprisoned at the time, including yourself and Rimi.
Take it easy. Take it easy.
Yes.
Let me get the first in sequence.
Okay.
So after the meeting of G18, we wrote a memorandum to Abacha, a very, very tough one, challenging his transition. And they will not participate. So we all signed. Now, after signing, the issue was who was going to submit it to Abacha. Because Abacha then was just like a lion. Who was going to the lion?
Everybody was afraid.
So Solomon said, look, of all of you, I'm the oldest. Adam Chiroma, others, Lord Keita, Musa Muslim, let me take it to him. In the event I'm picked up and I vanish from the scene, I have been, no matter what, please keep on with the struggle. Keep on with the struggle. So he took it to Abacha, to the villa. That same night, me and Rimi drove back to Abuja. let's say now we were picked up by SSS the same night, and we're only read after Abacha died. So that is the history.
And these details are not out there in the public. People are not so aware of them.
You see, sometimes, leadership has some problems. You don't keep on saying, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. Anyway, so when Abacha died, Australia came on board. We were released from prison, me and Remy. We said, fine. But then G30 was being formed. So we met again in Jerry Gana's house. Many other Northern Mandate. And the other group, what do you do with the political party? How do you for a political party? We should be able to first address and cure the injury of June 12. Because there is no way you can move an inch if you don't have the June 12 issue. Because it will divide Nigeria.
Prof, was it the right decision that they took at the time?
You see, they have records. Their activities from when they started gathering and the activities of Nadeko, we shouldn't forget the other part also, have given them credence. Alhaji Sule Lamido had been one man standing, and the last man standing, as you said, in the PDP. And when they came back from Lagos, those activities they did really portray their nationalism.
But would you say that the PDP they formed that time in 1998, 1999, is it the same PDP today in terms of values or in terms of personnel, in terms of people?
Personalities that came together.
Yes.
It was a conglomeration of even strange bedfellows.
Okay.
But one mission they had was to chase out the military completely out of the political scene in Nigeria.
Sure.
Because it was enough. And the pressure, mind you, from the international community have said it all. It was time for the military to exit. But their stand and their own struggle gave the backing from the public. Even though Abacha was a popular leader, but he was a dictator in the form of a military regime that was not accepted later
Excellency.
on. So really, they brought a change.
Okay.
They brought a huge push that other democratic elements started circling around them.
Your Excellency, you have an election just around the corner in 2023. Happily, the President Buhari has already said that he doesn't want anyone to campaign for him in 2023. So but that also means that we're not going to have what happened when the PDP were in power in 2007. So do you see the possibility of PDP unseating the APC in 2023?
Now, let me make some little, maybe a correction.
Yes.
The mission of G9, G18, and 34, there was not only to flush out the military. It's one that, is to restore that Nigerianness.
The original
brotherhood
vision. Yes.
That sisterhood, we had in 1960.
Yes.
I mean, if the purpose is just to get military out, but then the structure you pursue in doing so, or the political is wrong, you are going to some problems. So it may get the structure first right. The political parties knowing fully well on what they are going to face Nigeria. And so, like I was saying before I come into your answer, so when we met, we said, look, in Jerigana's house, first of all, where do we locate the presidency before even we begin to about the political party? Because how do we heal June 12? And I've been saying this over and over. For sake of, I find my opinion all over. You see, democracy the world over is supposed to address and cure your needs, cure your problem, not imprison you. And I've been saying that even that's why even America, the mother and father of democracy, there was election in Algeria, North Africa, where the Muslim fundamentalists won the election. Fundamentalists won the election. But because that particular political organization was not in tune with American foreign interest,
they tried to.
It was truncated. It was truncated. He knows that, all right. And same thing in Palestine. Hamas won the election. But then Americans saw Hamas as not a partner,
So
but an adversary.
how do these issues speak to the PDP of the future?
I am coming to that, you see. And then, so it was also truncated. Same thing with Morsi in Egypt. He won the election. 2 years ago, he was also removed. Now, so it means democracy should be able to address your needs and cure problems. So that's why I say, fine. In PDP this time around, in trying to form a political party, we need to look at this issue. We need people who can make sacrifice for the country, for the bigger picture. Therefore, we're shutting out the entire northern part of the country. Nobody should come out there to contest from the north. Should be taken to the south. From the very beginning, before even the party was formed, that was agreed. So we formed the party based on the restoration of trust.
But in the primaries, in 1999 primaries, one of your closest political friends, that's the late Alhaji Abubakar Rimi, he stood in the election as a northern candidate against...
No.
In the PDP primaries in 1999.
Maybe they are too young to understand.
Okay.
Who knows? You see, he said he was running, but then as part of the build-up, towards the primary in Jos came, we went and sat down with other political leaders in the north. He was asked please to drop his ambition and make the sacrifice, to heal Nigeria. And he did. So it was in the south. So in the south, it was Ali Ukeme and Obasanjo who ran. Now, again, you see, that's why, PDP has a lot of wisdom. Or people who form PDP have a lot of wisdom. They have foresight, they have vision, they have foresight. That is called leadership. And so when it was given to the South between Ali Kwame and Obasanjo. By political qualification, Kwame is far ahead of Obasanjo by political qualification. Eminently qualified to run. Because of vice president in Nigeria, civilian vice president, has made so many sacrifices. But then again, because you are trying to also heal a problem, you have to look at the tribal dimension of it. And therefore, we're looking for a revival.
But by that logic, it will now mean that maybe it is time that the Igbos also have an Igbo president.
Before that, you need a very, very firm foundation before you begin to put up, the number of stories of building. So when it was together, so the two of them contested. Of course, we look at Obasanjo, his role in the Civil War, a pan-Nigerian, was able to transition. Conduct, he was a pan-Nigerian. Even though the environment he came from didn't like him for standing for Nigeria, because he refused to be tribalistic, he refused to be put down to a level of ethnicity.
Prof, all these things that the Excellency, His Excellency is saying about Obasanjo, do you agree? That Obasanjo is all of this? And that more so than
Obasanjo,
Prof,
whether you like it or not, you give credit to certain individuals that have been part and parcel of the history of Nigeria.
Okay.
Nigeria have had it with those people. Military and political development of Nigeria, you cannot discountenance Obasanjo's role.
But the same Obasanjo has now left the PDP.
No, but then you see,
what does that say about the party today?
Professor,
it is
good thing is equal to him. He's simply jumping ahead.
Yes.
Because we have just a small amount of time.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's take them the way they want.
Okay. What does that say of about the PDP? Because Obasanjo, whom you speak of so glowingly, and we don't disagree.
The same Obasanjo you say that had left.
He has now left the PDP. What does that say the PDP?
He has serious stake in Nigeria.
Okay.
And mind you, even when the formation of APC was in the formative stage, we saw them running to Otafam. Why did they go to you?
I wonder.
Okay.
Why? So, like a father of the nation,
PDP,
he has become a very strong bridge, whether you like it or not today. As far as that old man.
But what does that say about the chances of the PDP for the 2023 elections?
Well, it's bright. Why? Because people like this have been sagacious.
Okay.
They have stood their ground to identify with a political party that at a time became a pariah due to their activities. And everybody was running up and skelter and up and against them. But then they stood their ground and told Nigerians that they have ideology and principle. And that earned them tremendous and principle. And that earned them it earned him tremendous respect here. But what I'm trying to say is this fact. The role of the opposition that we have seen in PDP has been combative at a time when really the ruling party needs to be combative. There are those that can be very combative. They can be sagacious. They can come up with data and comparison.
The PDP of today,
yes.
the chairman, the national chairman of the PDP, who was just elected recently,
Yes.
he had gone across several parties. At least he was. He had left the PDP to go to the AC,
all
and
the
then
political participants in most
and now
parties.
he is saying,
yes.
wait a minute, he is saying that the PDP are just ready to sack the APC in 2023. What are the chances of the PDP sacking APC realistically, Your Excellency, sir?
Well, you see, again, I'll keep, giving the history, so we do not get misled. Okay. Because as we, it begins to pick in the middle of the, of evolution, you can't get the facts right. So at this convention, Obasanjo was elected, and those who came, who was put in Ala Kwame, were terribly, terribly injured. They were pained, and trying to maybe ask Ala Kwame to refuse to accept. But they say Ala Kwame, being a leader, said, look, I am former Nigerian vice president, therefore I am carrying Nigerian image in me. There's something I cannot submit in terms of emotion, no matter how pained I am. There's something I will not do because my action may likely injure the bigger picture. He said he will not. He endorsed Obasanjo, embraced him. That's what you call, people of honor, people of character, people who can make sacrifice no matter how pained they are. That's what I mean. So that single action of PDP. Then we came
Is there that kind of sacrifice in the PDP of today? Do people make that sacrifice now?
It's your own generation now.
Okay.
I'm talking about the foundation. APP then, and the AD, who are our main opponents, saw the wisdom and the political sagacity of PDP. They say, So after their convention, after AD convention, Olifala emerged. After APP convention, Obono Ono emerged. But because they saw us locating the president to the southwest, they collapsed these two parties, collapsed the convention, and picked Odofalaye, who is from AD to run under APP, and then pulled down Obono Ono and sacrificed him, and he agreed, and made Shinkafi, then he made. So you could see then, in 1999, all the kids were from the west, they are all Yorubas. You could see the wisdom.
Yes.
Even our opponents were copying us.
But is that kind of thing needed in Nigeria today?
I'm coming. So,
okay.
And because at the time Nigeria was going through, by time it was fully restored, fully reconciled, we were able to restore trust. And then when there's trust, there will be stability. When there's stability, there will be peace. When there's peace, there will be human development. So these issues go in tandem.
Just before we go on break, Prof, His Excellency is saying that the country was restored and there was stability and so on. Also, at the same time, in the early 2000s, that's when communal crisis began to sprang up everywhere in Nigeria, in Kaduna, particularly in northern Nigeria, in Jos, in Kaduna, many parts of northern Nigeria at the time. What happened? What went wrong? Was it that the PDP lost the plot?
Not really.
The original plot?
I'm happy you call it communal. They didn't call it political.
They were mostly political as well. Okay.
You have qualified that conflict. In academics, when you qualify a certain conflict, we look for the reason, the cause and the effect. And communal conflict that started, and also inter-religious conflict, started during the Babangida regime. It started, if you remember, the crisis.
The point is,
in southern Kaduna.
Even during Shagari.
There was some communal crisis. It spilled over.
But they took a qualitative turn in that first term on the PDP.
Had those communal crises, including Obasanjo's civilian regime. If you remember the Omolori and then the Zakibiam, all those were communal clashes. But then, when you look deep into the root of those crises, they are not without certain economic agitations.
Absolutely.
Certain political need to be represented at the national level. So it's normal as far as an academic is concerned, to look at those crises and say, we really need representation here, and we have been left out. But that is not justification for conflict.
So would we classify that as PDP being able to manage, we have just a few more minutes, being able to manage Nigerian diversity better than the ruling party now, the APC?
Normally, see, when a hungry person is very, very hungry, he's almost insane. By the time you give him food and his belly is full,
yes,
then his faculties is fully restored.
1 minute?
And they begin to think. And they begin to bring other things. So contentment sometimes, give the person that feeling, what else do I want? And you begin to look at other things. But then, when you are hungry, you don't even have the capacity to even think. You are too weak. So PDP having restored the country properly in 2 years of coming into government, our external debt, our internal reconciliation, and number of things are being healed. Therefore, Nigeria will begin to look, like he says, commission will begin to say, okay, what do I need? What are my needs? Who? And then they fight. But then before them, these kind of things don't come because the bigger thing is there something which got them utterly overwhelmed, poverty and their needs.
Thank you. So on that note, we'll be going on a short break. When we come back, we will continue. This is Daily Politics. Please don't go away.
Here's the news roundup on Daily Politics. The Federal Capital Territory Abuja Police Command confirms that suspected bandits abducted at least 6 members of staff of University of Abuja on Tuesday when the bandits broke into the institution's staff quarters. The FCT Commissioner of Police Babaji Sunday stated this in a statement on Tuesday. He said the police has dispatched additional tactical and conventional policing resources to the University of Abuja main and satellite campuses, as well as directed the operatives to man the staff quarters and other affiliate formations of the university to fortify security, improve public safety, and protect citizens in and around the university community. Daily Trust earlier reported that the armed men broke into the staff quarters located at the Gui area of the FCT in the early hours of Tuesday. Zamfara state government has reopened some weekly markets closed some months ago due to insecurity situation in the state. In a release issued by State Commissioner of Information Ibrahim Dosara, he said that the reopening of the markets from Monday is as a result of an improvement in the security situation and a series of requests by members of the public. The commissioner, who emphasized that the ban on cattle sales in the market remains, said that the markets reopened are the Talata Mafara market in Talata Mafara local government, Gusau market in Gusau local government, and Shinkafi market in Shinkafi local government. Commenting on the development, Senator Shehu Sani told Trust TV that opening the weekly markets is not an indication that insecurity ravaging Zamfara state is going down. The People's Redemption Party will hold its national convention on December 11, 2021. The party's national organizing secretary, Alhaji Sule Kankara, made the disclosure in Katsina on Tuesday while speaking with newsmen. He said arrangements have been concluded for the convention. Kankara also disclosed that PRP now has new executive in Katsina State following last Saturday's Congress. The crisis rocking the Plateau State House of Assembly took a new dimension as the new Speaker, Zanda Yakubu, declared the impeached Speaker, Abok Ayuba, wanted. Daily Trust reports that Ayuba and lawmakers loyal to him secretly went into the Assembly's chamber about 4 a.m. on Monday in an apparent move to outdo his rival. But a few minutes later, Yakubu and lawmakers in his camp stormed the parliament. It was gathered that the two warring camps went into closed-door session where Ayuba reportedly requested that he should be reinstated as the Speaker. The new Speaker, Zanda Yakubu, also announced the suspension of 6 members of the Assembly who are loyal to the impeached Speaker. He said they were suspended following the sitting they organized at a community hall on Thursday and forceful entry into the parliament. And finally, Nigeria's Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has announced 21 additional deaths from cholera disease and 417 fresh cases, representing a case fatality rate of 5% reported from 7 northern states. The center stated this in its latest cholera situation weekly epidemiological report for October 11 to 17 this year, published on its website.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. With me are two distinguished Nigerians. One, Professor Muhammad Usman Muhammad of the University of Bez University, and of course, former Minister of Foreign Affairs and former two-term governor of Jigawa State, Sule Lamido. Your Excellency, just as we were having the break, we were comparing the PDP and the APC government. The APC, President Buhari has said many times over and over that the PDP destroyed Nigeria. 16 years, they destroyed Nigeria. So do you think that this can make them win in 2023 again?
You know, at the beginning of this program, I said, I speak, maybe people, I think that people understanding that something I may likely say. I say so, they feel offended. But then what is APC? APC is a combination of AD, AC, ACN, APP, AMPP, and what have you. Now, even at that, combined together, there is no way they would have defeated PDP, because in the election of 1999, the result PD put together, the whole PD alone was more than other put together. Same thing in 2003, same thing in 2007, same thing in 2011. So it means APC is not a political party. It is something to grab power, but not to serve Nigeria. Even so when they form APC,
how is the PDP better or different?
I am coming. Okay. When they form the APC, those that are consultants, and those who are writing with possible for them, no matter what, you cannot win. You can't defeat PDP. So that's why poaching on PDP, picking former governors, former vice president, and many others, speakers. You understand? So if you...
Some would say that it is the internal crisis within the PDP at the time that made these governors to leave the PDP for the APC at that time.
Whatever you say, you can lead a country when people have no character, when people have no patience, when people cannot sacrifice, when you begin to put your personal anger over and above your national interest. So if you're angry, so what? I mean, all those people who were PDP's invention. They were unknown, unnoticed before PDP. PDP dignified them. PDP made them what they were. So because they're angry, they left. So it means APC had to go and bring in people from the PDP of high profile. So I've been saying again, sounding a little bit vulgar, APC is a very, very barren woman. She cannot conceive.
What?
So yes. PDP had to come in to pollinate it. So they know. Then they form government. Therefore, the current government and the president, are PDP baby government. PDP of corruption, because they say we are corrupt, isn't it? And therefore, since the party is contaminated with corruption from its membership, is contaminated. Therefore, the output or the end product is going to be corruption again.
But is it the APC saying that there is corruption during the PDP government, or there is in fact evidence of corruption? Because in 2000, in 2001. And also, I think in 2004, Nigeria, on the corruption perception index, again and again, it was either the most corrupt country in the world and so on. So is it that the APC were just saying it, or it was in fact true?
Well, I think you have to bring Bauer here.
Okay. And, the FCC
let him give you the statistics of the corruption perception index in the PDP, when they ruled this country, and then the present 6-year term. So you compare 16 years to 6 years, and now you will understand the humongous dimension of what corruption is all about. One. Secondly, we are all Nigerians, and here we have talked about cross-carpeting, how some individuals were made within the PDP, and they were disenchanted, angry, and they left PDP.
One of them was, in fact, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, who was
I don't want to mention
presidential candidate last year.
To mention
in the last election,
or to mention the positions, but we all have them historically documented. They are all there. If you mention names such as Atiku, Atiku had been sagacious and defensive. He employed senior advocates of more than 35 caliber to defend him, even during his regime. He had been very
But
democratic.
what we mean is
So,
that he was
it's
in
an
the
exception to the
PDP,
rule.
he was met by the PDP, but he left PDP to even join the APC.
Yes.
And now he's back. So
Yes.
if we're talking about the campaign, that's
Yeah,
is the
probably
PDP giving Nigeria that
the
picture.
Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria have allowed that. If he hadn't allowed that, they wouldn't have been moving. But when he moved, what has he seen? That he is back to the PDP.
Thank you.
But I am-
Your Excellency, there is this, people are saying that, okay, PDP has been a party mainly about power, but they haven't really forged that policy, that ideology that sits well with Nigerians. It's a party that can't boast its chest and say, okay, this is what we do for the average Nigerian.
Do you know what baffles me?
Yes.
Somebody will come and look at you in your room and say, why don't you play this thing there? Your bed should be there. I mean, you are outside, you have no idea what we are doing. Our efforts, our sacrifices, our commitment to the country, how we are coming, how we are forging each other, to be able to give Nigeria something which will last for a long time. You don't look at that. You are only looking at Nigerians are terribly impatient. Only want to just quick fix. But then again, you see, platforms are very, very important. Platforms are very, very important because you've got a very strong platform anchored on some strong values, with a very strong morality. Then the government coming on board will be.
But the real question,
is what I'm
the
saying.
real question, Your Excellency,
I'm coming before.
many people in the PDP, do they have the same vision of the PDP as you are saying now?
The purpose of this interview is to give Nigerians, clear picture of the country and the political evolution. That's the purpose. We're not debating. We're trying to maybe, with all humility, trying to educate.
Absolutely.
What I'm saying, when you vilify a person, the PDP are corrupt, PDP are filthy, they are dirty, they are evil, and you plant this, in the hearts of the younger generation. You understand? You put in their mind. Well, at the same time, you are recruiting PDP members to come into your own party. So the APC at formation, when we're going to election, was a PDP APC, which is contaminated by the PDP, according to them. You see, ideally, they say, look, we're going to war front. We're going to war front, we're going to go 10 people who can stand on integrity, who are fearless. But then they say, look, come all of you, whether you are filthy or they come. And you saw the platform which produced APC government is a platform of corruption because there's no bigger corruption than poaching, taking my own government, my own people, my own presidents, my own former president, my own governor. I mean, that is corruption. And then you are sent to lead Nigeria.
Do you agree, Prof?
Well, give me a list. You are a journalist. The public know that we are speaking now about Nigerians that have decamped from PDP and form another party, maybe ANC, maybe CM, maybe AD, and then they form APC.
But some people will say that the main people in the PDP, in the APC, they've never really decamped or gone
Who are the main people in the APC?
Say the two major flanks, Tinubu and Buhari. They have always remained in one party, except when the parties evolve into other parties. That's different from the camping.
Please give us a break, for God's sake.
That's different from the camping. The camping.
Listen.
This is not about. This is speaking because there is no APC representative.
It's about
here.
history.
Okay.
It's about history and the origin. It's about history and heritage.
Exactly.
Your values. Tinubu was AD.
So, between APC and AD, there's a direct line.
Let you lecture us. They lecture us.
Your Excellency, there's a direct line. There's a direct line of evolution between AD all the way to APC. The same as APM.
The line is self-serving.
The same as AMPP. The same as APP.
No.
So that's different from the camping.
No.
As an academic, the camping will be to move from one functioning party to another functioning party. That's different from coalitions.
Ephemeral one. Ephemeral. You see, listen.
Yes.
You see, nobody in APC is original. Nobody.
Except the two that I mentioned?
No, all of them.
Except the two that I mentioned.
No.
Tinubu was never really, they were AD and AC. It is just progression of the party growing into something else, rather than moving from one party to another.
Listen. You see, Buhari was not in the political party. Then he joined APP in 2003. And then the party became AMPP. He ran for election, he lost. He left the party and went for CPC. Lost again, came back And then those from AD, ACN, AMPP, APP, what have you, came together, and then as people looking for house rent, they came and found a house, and then they
and even those that were poached from PDP.
Now when they enter, that house, which is APC, still there is no way they can lead Nigeria because by their individual capacities, their histories, and what have you, they don't have the quality to Nigeria. So they find we need people from PDP, even though they are corrupt, even though they are dirty, even though let's for now, ignore their filth and that. Let's get the votes.
But
so the platform is very, very corrupt. It's dirty, and therefore
let's look at the broader picture, the bigger picture. Like you mentioned earlier, the Nigerian picture. Does it mean Nigeria is incapable of forming a political party that can stand ideologically and also in terms of policies for the average Nigerian? Because you are saying the PDP, the APC is a child of the PDP is progenitor of the APC, so it means they are one and the same?
You see,
so where are we going?
There's a difference. So in PDP, we're getting by something called principles. And whether we are leaders by our conduct, by our character, by our behavior, that's something we will not do. That's why Alex Kwame Injo said, no matter how pain he is, he will support PDP. That says a lot. All right?
But do we have leaders like that in the PDP today?
No, we have.
You see, the question is...
What we need is mentorship. But I'm happy the PDP's face at the convention has brought about a beautiful dimension of this mentorship. Look at the youth leader that the PDP that just emerged. So there is a generational transfer of power.
But what about gender change?
That is about to come.
The other lady who wanted to be national vice chairman in Nachurama, she was defeated.
Yeah.
Shouldn't she have been given an opportunity
You said
to
she
show
was
that?
defeated.
Okay.
You said so.
Should she not have been given
It's
an opportunity?
democracy.
Okay.
It's democracy.
You see, Mr. Moderator,
Yes.
The purpose of this conversation is to give Nigeria a very clearer dimension of Nigerian politics and its evolution.
Absolutely.
Because at the convention, President came to us and said, "Sir, what do you say about this convention? It's PDP, blah, 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 PDP." I said, "Look, it is not a PDP convention." I told them, this is not a PDP convention. It's a Nigerian convention.
How are the two different?
Because the way things are today in this country, they were divided. The level of poverty and the terrible economy, the insecurity and what have you. We need a platform which is going to be there for Nigeria and Nigerians. And if it is wrong, people like you who are very young, you have no future. Anybody now who is 30 years, if what is happening today continues, by the time you are 60, you will have no country. So you see, the convention and what came out, is for Nigeria first.
Are you saying that if Nigeria continues under APC, 30 years from now, there will be no country left?
Are you praying for that to continue? Fine. You see,
I'm a journalist. I don't have any side in this. I don't have a dog in this fight.
No, please. Let us be honest. Beyond being a journalist, you're also a Nigerian who lives in Nigeria and who is also governed by the wrong thing in Nigeria. So you have interest. You understand what I'm saying? It's up to you, Nigerians.
Okay.
If you think you want AP to continue, let's have it forever. I have no problem. But then there'll be no country by then. That's why I say, the convention is to restore Nigeria, restore hope, give you some inspiration.
How is the PDP going to do that, given the baggage that they still carry from their previous experience in government?
Which baggage?
What are the baggage?
Which baggage? Let me know the baggage.
Because
let me know the baggage. Not because which baggage?
Even defeat at election means you are no longer acceptable to the electorate.
Okay, fine. We're going to another election. Go to APC now. Go and vote to APC. It's not a problem. You see, when you begin to kind of try to provoke us, into saying things just to entertain. We're not here for entertainment. We're not here for entertainment. We're here for facts, and facts are difficult to accept. We want to give hard facts that this country has a role to play within the community of nations. Nigeria, leader of the black race. What we are doing today in Nigeria is an embarrassment to the entire world, because smaller countries look onto us in Africa. And even they look onto us, for inspiration, for leadership. And we're missing up. Telling me, where in the world will you find, that I pick my brother and keep him in my house for money? I mean, turning human being into merchandising. Why do you think this one? Why you go and find an entire village, you burn the entire village, rape their women, and cut away their cattle? Why do you find in this world where you go to a market, you can find human parts for sale?
Do you think the PDP are prepared to take on these problems?
No. What I'm saying
in 2023?
What I'm saying is this, where in this world we have the kind of level of hate between a father and a son, between our fault lines, north and south, Christian. I mean, that thing that's our common bond is gone. It's gone. And so if you think we should continue like this, fair enough. But then PDP has the capacity, has the people, has the commitment, and has also the tolerance to be law-abiding,
Prof,
law and order.
Prof, if you could speak as a professor for a while, rather than as a PDP sympathizer, as a professor for a while, because we are hoping we have a partisan and then an independent voice. But it turns out we have two partisans. But it's okay if you can speak as a professor for a while, rather than as a partisan. You're also a Nigerian entirely, The PDP, do they have the capacity to heal these wounds? Because His Excellency has raised very, very cogent issues. The increasing chasm, the increasing polarization between various parts of Nigeria, the increasing hopelessness, this
one has
can
this
be,
setting. One have this setting. All these characteristics of
they've gotten worse in the last few years, but they've always been there, including during the PDP years.
You are not fair to us.
Absolutely.
But
I didn't know you were in the PDP, but go on.
Let me tell you this. I wish the APC will relinquish power peacefully if they are defeated like the PDP. It's a victory for the PDP. No matter how you look at it, we wish that if they are defeated at all ports, because with the indices outside there, that is...
What are those indices?
That is, first, he has just mentioned the general insecurity in the country, high inflation or hyperinflation, and then some of the parts of this country where the president himself had come from is not secured. And economic downturn has set in there. We are talking about more debt today than ever before. Yes. The PDP was accused of taking debt, especially President Jonathan. He was being accused of taking $35 million debt. Today, we are running into billions of dollars. So which generation have you mortgaged? So we are in deep, deep economic mess. The more we sleep over and wake up the next morning, the more we have problems. We need this opposition and we need a responsible
But can you give me, tell Nigerians now, any concrete plans that the PDP has to heal these wounds, to solve these problems?
I'm not a structure of
Your Excellency,
PDP,
that question goes to you.
You see, Mr. Moderator.
Yes.
From where are you coming from, Kogi?
No, it doesn't matter.
Your village.
It doesn't matter.
No, I want to give you an example.
Yes.
Okay, fine. If I am from Bamena in Jigase, I'm studying Abuja. If I'm going to go to Bamena tomorrow, I will either go by road or by air. That is the ultimate thing. That's my destination. Now, if you are saying Sule, you may likely crash if you join any plane or road accident, I can't even move. So you see, in embarking upon something which is for a country which has gone down, there'll be some problems. There'll be some difficulty. But then you see, the capacity and the ability and the courage to confront these things, which is more important. So PDP in terms of membership is a Nigerian ownership in every home, in every village, every time that there's PDP. So it's Nigerian ownership. When they see the real leadership, they are simply prepared to follow and be patient and make sacrifices for the bigger picture to survive, so that tomorrow we'll go into a life of bliss, a life of security, a life of stability, a life of love, and then a life of human development. But then there'll be some problems, yes. There'll be problems. But then you see, we have the capacity to overcome them. That's why before the convention, people say, people are going to perish. People have been saying so, isn't it?
So, Prof, which candidates in the PDP do you think right now in a position to lead the PDP to this glowing future that His Excellency.
Let me answer you.
Yes.
Let me answer you.
Yes.
You see, as a family, which is more important, is the base, the support. If we put you as a candidate, and we vote for you, we'll all be there for you. You can leverage from our experiences, our whatever, because it's a family thing. You are there for us, not for yourself. So anybody you put, the party will be there for you. So when you begin to say must A or B, you are making things very, very. That's why that's why people say it's only Buhari. Only Buhari can save Nigeria. He's there now. Are we safe? This is somebody who say that if the terrorists or if the Boko Haram subsist or continue 6 months into any government, that government is part of Boko Haram. This is somebody who say petroleum subsidy is a fraud. This is somebody who was a former minister of petroleum, former head of state. We will now look at Nigeria and say petroleum subsidy is a fraud. Isn't it? He says so many things. And because the younger generation like you, who don't know him, believe in him because elders.
Well, I did.
No, the younger generation.
That's fine. That's fine.
They say gaskiya, which means the word gaskiya only came around when Buhari came around. There was no, in our vocabulary, there was no gaskiya. And that's why, because the whole thing about his own personality and persona, if you go to campaign, when he was in Bauchi there, you go to the tomb of late Prime Minister Balewa. He never say, look, Bauchi, here lays our leader, who was this and this and this and this. What is going wrong? How do you get the inspiration? He will never pay tribute to you. Because if he does so, then it means he doesn't exist. He'll go to Kano. Murtala, his boss was there. Amir Khan was there. He will never mention them. He'll go to Sokoto, where he will Osman Ahodio and the premier, Abdul Bello. He'll go to Ibadan or anywhere in the West. He'll never mention Olo. He'll go to the East. He'll never mention Zikr because he'll never mention Azukwe. Because to him, they must be buried for him to stand up.
We're running out of time.
That's why therefore, the linkages between the past and present has been cut off by Buhari so that he can stand alone. So this lacuna is our biggest problem now.
Your Excellency, I have one more question because you said earlier that, but I want the Prof to have last word. You said earlier that you have reservations about Buhari saying that people should not campaign for him in 2023. Are you saying that you have reservations that President Buhari will not leave in 2023?
No. He simply, indulging, in what I may call self-caress. His caress is only go by himself. He's self-caress. Who says going to promote? Who says so? Is there anyone who says going to promote Buhari? So you see, in his own delusion,
maybe because it has happened before, Prof, isn't it?
Let me finish, please. You see,
yes.
Let us be honest. You see, beyond Buhari, beyond Lamido, there will be Nigeria.
Absolutely.
That's very, very important.
Absolutely.
So you see, when you begin to confer upon yourself something which is superhuman, you're only being deluded. He has been there for 6 years now. Even building roads, we don't have anything called budget. Not be never an NPC. I mean, where are we? NPC, financing road projects.
Excellency, that's a discussion for another day. Prof, to just give you the last word. It's because this is the same thing that the APC were doing when they were in opposition. They were criticizing the PDP, criticizing President Jonathan, criticizing everyone. We're having a repeat of the same criticism against Buhari and against the APC. Do you think the PDP are prepared to make things different or even to win in 2023?
That leaders emerge that love Nigeria, that are patriotic, that will put the agenda of what His Excellency earlier described as an all-inclusive family, that everybody will be happy to restore our oneness. Once we can have those kind of leaders, we will be okay. Nigeria will be okay. We wish God will give them, the leaders of the parties and those in contention and those in power, the wisdom to drive Nigeria ahead and also include the youth into governance. We just wish for that. A beautiful country that would be most conflict-prone free, unlike what we have today.
On that note, that brings us to the end of today's program. Your Excellency, Governor Lamido, I would like to thank you so much, and I hope we are able to have you on this show and on our station once more.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Also, welcome Professor Muhammad Usman. We also have to have you here once again. This is where we draw the curtain for this program this evening. Hopefully, we see you again tomorrow with another Big Bang edition of Daily Politics. Please stay with us.